The sewer queen asked me to make a map of the sewers.
I doubt the queen is meeting with a dry footer.
Yeah, especially one who wears bags on their feet.
Craig! It's good to see you.
Your Majesty.
I'm sorry if my guards gave you a hard time. They should know that all feet may tread in our sacred waters.
Now, let's get started. We've got work to do.
It's actually pretty good.
Really?
The heck are you talking about, Craig?
Just add a little bit of cheese on top. There, try that.
Tastes like cheese.
The cheese definitely gives the dish a robust, nutty flavor. There's room for improvement, but I think we did pretty good for our first try.
Who's gonna help when the danger overwhelms and the mysteries are piled high? Who's gonna be around, never gonna let you down, take you for a wild ride? Treasure always by your side. It's Craig of the Creek, he's gonna save the day. It's Craig of the Creek, he's gonna save the day. Craig of the Creek. Now, one question that dawned upon me last week is Karen Fukuhara is too famous for Craig of the Creek to have an episode focusing on her character, which is unlikely to be true. I mean, it was disproven when season 4 had an episode focusing on Eileen the Sewer Queen and the sink or swim team, so they're likely to dodge the same problem with Alexis if season 4, 5, or 6 Craig of the Creek or Addams was married. You know, I always thought if Craig of the Creek did want to give Alexis a storyline away from Bernard, you know, the first group of characters with which they're likely to pair her up, with which Craig of the Creek's writers are likely to pair her up, are the Witches of the Creek. I mean, all three of them are teenagers, so maybe it's likely that Alexis, Tabitha, and Courtney went to the creek together when they were little girls around Kelsey's height or Craig's height. And Alexis broke up with them because maybe she just didn't want to play witch with them. But Tabitha and Courtney like going back there to scare any after-hours kids because they miss playing in the creek as little kids. They miss their good old days playing at the creek with Pierce Nation. You know, I thought it'd be fun to explore the Witches of the Creek, where the witches, if that's the reason why Witches of the Creek are why the Stump Kids are the only Craig of the Creek characters we've ever seen interact with the Witches of the Creek. It'd be super funny. It'd be super fun or funny to see what happened if other kids of the creek saw them. And the second group of Craig of the Creek characters I think would be likely to be paired up with Alexis are the elders. Like if something happened, like if the Stump Kids want to ask the elders about something happened at the creek a long time ago, and the elders would direct them towards Alexis. Maybe they know that Alexis knows the mysterious important thing that happened at the creek 10 or 6 years ago. But I always had a soft spot for Alexis and Kelsey. I think it'd be kind of cool to write a Craig of the Creek episode. I always wanted to write a couple Craig of the Creek episodes where Alexis was Kelsey's big sister figure, and they got to be a pair of meaty junior warrior girls. Sink or Swim team showed me that I'm relieved that Karen Fukuhara isn't too famous for Craig of the Creek to have episodes focusing on the two teen girls that she voiced in Craig of the Creek. We're both secondary characters, but it is also nice that I think it is kind of funny how they share some physical similarities to the primary characters that she voices in She-Ra, the She-Ra and the Princess of Power reboot and People Major Wonder Beasts. because Glimmer has a strong, thick, meaty body like Alexis, and Kipo has a skinny, boyish, flat-chested body and spiky hair, like Eileen the Sewer Queen. They're both underground, under the surface dwellers. But unlike Kipo Oak, Eileen lives in a normal, above-ground house in her life outside of being a Sewer Queen. Now, I mean, I guess if Craig of the Creek were to have... No. Karen Fukuhara... I'm very sure Karen Fukuhara isn't too famous for Craig of the Creek to have any episodes focusing on her characters, just like how Linda Cardellini... Linda Cardellini wasn't too famous for Gravity Falls to have any episodes focusing on Wendy, which is totally why they should have made time to include that B-plot that I think was meant for Blendon's game. It was intended to be part of Blendon's game. And Jenna Ortega also not together Big City Queens to have episodes about Gabriella. I mean, if Karen Fukuhara was too famous for Craig of the Creek to have any episodes focusing on her, then why even cast her at all? Maybe they just wanted to hang out. Maybe they just wanted to hang out with a really cool. Maybe they just want to hang out with a really cool, hot, pretty, talented, golden-skinned Japanese girl. Because they'd like to part from Suicide Squad. It's like what the Citizen's narrator said about Space Jam: New Legacy when they learned they got Rosario Dawson to sign on to this film and play Wonder Woman in the Wonder Woman comic scene with Lola Bunny. He started to bet that 90% of the cast in this film, including Justin Roiland, who played with Rick Sanchez in another scene, when they dropped out for Tasmanian Devil. 90% of the cast just signed on to Space Jam: New Legacy so that they could hang out with cool people in the after party. But I don't think that's the case with Karen Fukuhara. I mean, if she is too recognizable, if they think she is too famous for them to write any episodes focusing on Alexis, then why even cast Karen Fukuhara in the first place? Maybe they just threw her in there because they were looking for another girl in the pilot to voice the Sewer Queen and Alexis after they cast Jessica and Kelsey. Karen Fukuhara was the next most available girl because she wasn't planning to do loads more movies. Like, she wasn't planning on having an ongoing movie career like Margaret Robbie, Jared Leto, and Will Smith before her. I mean, if Craig of the Creek did have episodes focusing on Alexis and the Sewer Queen Eileen, which they just did with which they already did once with Sink or Swim Team, that I think that would, it's a double-edged sword, no pun intended, because in the worst of times, having an extra famous person in the regular cast, an extra famous newcomer in the regular cast like Karen Fukuhara, runs the risk of stealing the show away from characters that are already who would think characters are supposed to be, which Simpsons does do very often, but it is guilty of doing that a few times. It does have a few episodes where the main focus of the story is a different celebrity guest voicing the character of the main character of that episode, such as Jeremy Irons in Mo Goes From Rags to Riches. Jeremy Irons voicing Mubarak in Mo Goes From Rags to Riches. Bill Hader voicing Manichek in Homer's Where the Art Isn't. Remember that guy was the voice that was the new undercover voice of Mr. Burns when he was undercover Burns, and Megan Mullally replaced Pamela Hayden for Sarah Wiggins' voice in uncut films, and every episode was there looking this week for after that. I can't tell anything. They suddenly wanted to replace Stanley Hayden and Sarah Williams got a bigger part, but at least they weren't trying to just drop like a volume from that one episode. Just took it to Sarah and Mark from that to this one. Wow. Very late in the game, but looking up the 40 minutes Sarah Williams. What did he do on some place? In the best of times, having a famous person like Karen Fukuhara and or Jenna Ortega in the secondary cast of Craig and Big City Queens could also, they could, if you make good use of their talent and star power, name recognition, they could really bring a lot of life to they could really bring a lot of new life to whichever character they're voicing. It was why I really enjoyed having Kristen Wiig voice Lola Bunny in the Looney Tunes show, and why I'm very disappointed that Space Jam Legacy didn't build upon that. I mean, I know that for the setup of writing and directing Space Jam Legacy, you really only need to know about the classic Looney Tunes cartoons and the first Space Jam film. But I'm definitely super disappointed that they didn't. But like many other Looney Tunes fans, I'm very disappointed that the second Space Jam movie wasted a very good opportunity to bring back the funny version of Lola from the funny, energetic, the silly, cuckoo version of Lola from the Looney Tunes show. It was really bad idea to cast Zendaya for Lola because she didn't have any of the same energy that kind of Susie and Kristen Wiig previously brought to the character. They shouldn't have wasted time getting a new, more famous person to overcast Susie. If they wanted a younger person who's more famous than cast Susie to play Lola in the second Space Jam movie, they should have just gone with Kristen Wiig again. Because Lola didn't have enough screen time and lines to justify casting Zendaya, recasting her for Zendaya at the last minute. And I'm sure if Kristen Wiig had gotten to voice Lola, she definitely would have made the second Space Jam movie a little more funny to watch. And yeah, that's why I believe Karen Fukuhara could bring to Alexis as Sewer Queen if Craig of the Creek made my wish if Craig of the Creek granted my wish to Craig of the Creek gave me my wish come true to have Alexis be a warrior buddy with Kelsey. I know from hearing them sing in one episode of The Boys and one episode of Wonder Yonder that in addition to being very talented and energetic voice actors, Karen Fukuhara and Noah Wells also make very good singers. I mean, I'm sure Kelsey's just a nicer version of, Kelsey is just a much nicer version of Lord Domir when you think about it. Now, Karen Fukuhara is a Japanese woman, but the Craig of the Creek character, the Sewer Queen, is Filipino. She first mentioned herself to be Filipino in After School Snackdown, and then we get to meet some of her family in Sink or Swim Team. And the actress who voices her mom is Filipino, Didi Bagman-Hall. She also voiced Pearl in Steven Universe, and I thought it was really nice to hear Pearl's voice again coming from a new character in Craig of the Creek, similar to how Michaela Dietz, who played Amethyst in Steven Universe, got to play Michelle, who was the Green Poncho of the Creek before Omar was. Now, even though Alexis is white and she's not using like the Sewer Queen or Karen, I still think there are ways we could play to Karen Fukuhara's strengths of being a super cool Japanese action girl, like all of that action she did in Suicide Squad and The Boys. If it turns out that Alexis likes reading manga like Eustace, and and Alexis was interested in being a warrior with Kelsey because she reads and watches so much manga and anime, and I figured out, I realized there is a way one could write Karen Fukuhara being Japanese into Alexis's character if it turns out that Alexis speaks fluent Japanese because she takes a high school course in Japanese culture. And that's how she gets so good at warrior fighting with Kelsey. But yeah. Yeah, Great Falls, Wendy was definitely underutilized when she was intended to be a primary character. But for Craig of the Creek, at least Craig of the Creek probably sort of has an excuse, since it already knows that Alexis and the Serial Queen are meant to be secondary characters, and Karen Fukuhara had to work on 2 other animated series where she was a primary character at the same time as Craig of the Creek, and as well as playing Kumiko Miyashiro on The Boys. But I still believe there are a lot of great new things Craig of the Creek could do with Alexis and Eileen in each season to come in. I would definitely be super excited for any episode featuring Alexis and Eileen if they get a good speaking part and they actually have a good role to play in the main story. Well, that's all for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you like Karen Fukuhara enough to want her to be. I hope you like Karen Fukuhara enough to want her Alexis and Eileen characters to get more focus in several future Craig of the Creek episodes to come. And I definitely do not think that she is too famous for Alexis and Eileen to have an episode focusing on them. Since Craig of the Creek already made an episode focusing on Eileen's family, they can definitely do the same. Showing her home, then they can definitely do the same for Alexis. We haven't seen any Emergency family yet, but at least we already got to see her home in Locked Up Cold, so that's a step in the right direction, I suppose. The Craig of the Creek could totally make a whole Jessica Shorts type of episode out of that stuff. If we got to have a series of Alexis shorts, we got to have an episode with Alexis shorts for Alexis to interact with some other kids in the other apartments adjacent to hers, who are also kids of the Creek, and can also be super fun to see the Stump Kids visit Alexis again, or Bernard, or Arlene the Sewer Queen. She knows her way through the sewer tunnels. I'm sure she can find a way to Alexis' apartment without ever crossing the road. Thanks for watching. If you liked my video essay about Karen Fukuhara not being too famous for Craig of the Creek to have any episodes focusing on her characters, be sure to like and subscribe for more cool amusing content like this one. You can either click the red subscribe button below this video or the watermark on the bottom right corner. When I start to go to bed, to feel alone, 'cause I'll see you tomorrow at the creek. It's time to go to the creek, It's time to go to the creek, It's time to go to tomorrow at the creek, just like I drew it.